Happy Wednesday, everyone. Let's go. Spider-Man Brand New Day is here. We've got lots of news along with our review and an interview today with a filmmaker who made a documentary about Stan Lee. So let's get Alan in here. And where is he? Where is that Alan? Oh God, he's right here somewhere. There. Wait. Oh,
I do not usually do these things, Mr. Gore. But I see that you are approaching 169,000 subscribers. And yes, I do respect that. So, okay, here you go. Alan.
Wow, it gets classier and classier each time.
John Malkovich. So many celebs have come out to support you and intro you on the show. Lot going on today, Alan.
Yeah,
we got to get right to it because we got news. We got to go. But a couple things. Yes, we are fast approaching 169,000 subs. So please, if you're new to the channel, give us a sub. And Alan, what do we want?
We want 169,000.
That's right. And also support the channel. I just ordered mine. It's our Doomsday t-shirts. Yes, celebrate Dune Part 3 and Avengers Doomsday opening on the same day on December 18th. I have my shirt is en route. I'll be wearing it on the show in a few days. I'm very excited about that. So there you go. Go to shop.filmthreat.com. Support our work. Let's get to some soups before we start.
All right. From Super Friend Man for $5.99. Alan, Chris, without spoilers, is there a Venom tease in Brand New Day based on how there was a little piece of the symbiote left behind in the bar in No Way Home?
No,
there isn't.
No. So we'll go through some of these. I'll kind of skip some of the Spider-Man.
Yeah. We'll just say the post-ending stuff, nothing to write home about. Super Friend of Man for $2.49. Any reference to ex-New York Mayor Wilson Fisk in Brand New Day?
No.
Andrew Cram gifted 5 Film Therapy memberships. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew.
And Super Friend of Man also wants to know about Brand New Day for $5.99. Thoughts on Marvin Jones III's performance as Tombstone in Brand New Day. He played another supervillain, Tobias White, in the CW's Black Lightning TV series.
Tobias Whale.
Yeah, I would say if you blink, you'll miss the performance.
He's barely in it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to report.
Yeah, but he's in it. Logan Missiak for $5. Chris, why can't we have a Spider-Man film with just Spider-Man? You want to save these for later, or
I'll save some. Yeah.
We're getting pretty specific. Yeah, that one too. That one would be another Spider-Man one. And there you go. That's a Spider-Man one.
Well, just read it.
Okay, $2.49 from Super Fandom Man again. Non-spoilers, is Doomsday tease in the Brand New Day impactful?
No. It's more of a multiverse tease.
Mm-hmm. Or Secret Wars, I would say. Super Fandom Man for $5.99. I mean, these are all Brand New Day questions. On the Nooner, Chris, you asked.
All right.
Yeah, I know. It's like
I'm trying to start the show.
I know, but you could save the Spider-Man stuff for Spider-Man.
Super friend. Okay.
Mr. Young Sharky for $1.99 gave us a super chat. Thank you.
Thank you for that.
How many gems is that, people?
Well,
yeah, DH person for 10 jewels. Happy poop.
Happy poop.
Happy poop.
Happy poop. And a couple things here.
Christopher Moonlight Productions. I remember him. Listening on the drive home, Comic-Con was a success, and Escape from Planet Omega 12 may have an amazing voice actress announcement soon.
We'll do a trailer reaction when we have the trailer up on our trailers channel. Thank you, Chris. It was a blast. That was a blast, but also a lot of things went sideways. Not due to us, just, issues.
Lord Thoth, like, share, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, sign up as a member, join us on X, Discord, Rumble, and Instagram. Buy our merch.
Alan,
https://shop.filmthreat.com
don't get
/happy face hand.
What are you doing? All right, we're gonna save your super chats related to Spider-Man Brand New Day for when we do our review in about the next 20 minutes or so. But we do have some news stories. Can Marvel get its groove back? Alan and I watched the entire Hall H panel of Marvel, and we were underwhelmed. We saw there was a preview of Avengers Doomsday, got a little tease for a Brand New Day, and they announced 2 new films, Ghost Rider with Ryan Gosling and Black Panther 3, and they introduced the new Black Panther. But from the wrap, here is this story. Alan, you have notes?
Yeah. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Marvel used his Hall H presentation at San Diego Comic-Con to make a case that the studio is ready for a comeback after a disappointing 2025, and 2024, and 2023, and 2022. Rather than leaning entirely on Avengers Doomsday, Marvel unveiled a new direction centered on standalone heroes, announcing Ghost Rider starring Ryan Gosling, Black Panther 3 with David Johnson as the new Black Panther. The shift signals a return to the character-driven storytelling that helped make the Marvel Cinematic Universe a global phenomenon. Marvel's recovery will depend on refocusing on quality over quantity. Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige admitted the studio has been stretched too thin and confirmed that only one Marvel film is scheduled for 2027, allowing more time to develop each project. Combined with strong early reactions to Spider-Man Brand New Day and positive reception for Avengers Doomsday footage at Comic-Con, studio appears to be rebuilding momentum. While Marvel still faces major tests at the box office, changing audience tastes, the company is returning to the formula that made it Hollywood's most successful franchise.
Well, one thing you can observe just by what we were shown is that they have dialed back. What we saw at Comic-Con was an announcement of 2 new movies, and then everything else was movies we already were aware were coming out. They clearly are pulling back on their slate, and that's a valid question to ask. Can Marvel get its groove back? I just don't think. I think event movies in the Marvel universe will do well. Avengers movies.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you scale the budget to smaller, something like Ghost Rider can do well. But I really don't care about a third Black Panther movie when, Chadwick Boseman is not in it. I really feel they should have recast. They should have recast the Black Panther and not have his sister replace him for a movie. Just don't agree with that decision. And then Ghost Rider is really a remake of a Nick Cage movie that they've already made. It's like a reboot of Ghost Rider. Not exciting. I think a lot of people have called it out. And I think really you're looking at, Marvel can't just decide to make a movie. They need funds approved from the parent company, i.e. Disney, I think you're going to see them taking fewer risks. And what we saw with Ghost Rider and with Black Panther 3, very safe choices that if the budget is scaled to reasonable amount, those will probably do well. Those will do well. What are your thoughts, Alan?
My thoughts is I think Marvel Studios leadership doesn't know what they're doing. I don't think they know. I'm not talking about Kevin Feige. I don't think he has an idea of what's coming out really after Secret Wars. The sense I get with the 2 announcements, first of all, with Ghost Rider, it's like when Ryan Gosling walked into Kathleen Kennedy's office and said, "Hey, I have an idea for Star Wars," and she says, "Great, please do it, please." And I get the same thing that happened here. He walks into Kevin Feige's office and says, "Hey, I've always wanted to play Ghost Rider. In fact, I did a whole podcast talking about wanting to do it." And Kevin Feige says, "Yes, please. Can you do it, please?" That's not Kevin Feige putting Ghost Rider out there. That's Ryan Gosling putting Ghost Rider out there. And maybe look, regarding Black Panther, they come in threes, and Black Panther is due for a third, and Ryan Coogler is due for a third. And so that seems like a no-brainer at that point. Okay, I'm exhausted. I don't know what to do past Secret Wars. Yeah, just do Black Panther 3.
Those are safe choices. Those are safe choices.
Yeah, because it requires no thought on Kevin Feige's part. If someone came to him, said, "I want to do this," and he says, "Yes, I'll greenlight it." Because what really should have happened at that panel was an X-Men announcement.
Well,
at
Alan,
least something that says, "Hey, 2029."
wait, I not to cut you off real quick, but I just noticed. Could you show us your entire shirt that you're wearing?
Yeah.
Is that for sale in the Film Thread shop?
I don't believe it is. This is they're out of stock. This is a collector's item.
Are we, Lori? Are we really out of that shirt? Let's get that shirt back in the shop. Alan, model it properly.
Yeah,
you got to stand up a bit. There you go. Okay. That phrase almost got me canceled. Well, speaking of Kevin Feige, he has been criticized for not building up Dr. Doom's entree into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Here he is at San Diego Comic-Con. We have him addressing that issue and kind of correcting the record, at least from the way he sees it. Let's see what Kevin has to say and talk about it on the back end.
Thanos. Yeah. What makes you confident that when we see Doomsday, you're going to say, "Look, we this is all we needed to give you this story," and go on to Secret, but in Doomsday itself?
I'm never confident about anything. I just work hard to try to deliver. But I will say, I do think, I was just saying to somebody else, that the Thanos buildup has built up in people's heads over the years.
I have to admit
he sat on a chair at the end.
I know.
He pulled the gauntlet out and said, "I'll do it myself."
Yep.
And he yelled at Ronan on a video screen briefly.
Sure did.
And that was kind of it. And I remember the memes making fun of Thanos for just sitting in a chair, and all he does is sit on a chair. And there was a Twitter feed at the time about him updating every day, updating. "I'm still sitting in my chair. I'm still sitting." It was more clever than that, but it was funny. And when we got to Infinity War, we said, this is really the introduction of Thanos to people. That's really what we're doing. That's how that movie was built.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing with Doom. That is the Doomsday is a introduction and the story of Doom. You peel the onion, you learn things about him as you go, and it is very much meant for audiences that know and love him from the comics, and audiences who have no clue who he is yet.
Man, I cannot wait to see this. My last question for you. Everything you just gave us in Hall H was incredible. I don't know if you know this. There's a kind of a meme that goes around on Twitter.
It's from the Brandon Davis show, just so you know.
So who's
shout out
guy?
to him. He's got these are interviews are done either pre or post events. It's not quite a red carpet per se, but you see the branding of Comic-Con in the background, and certain people get access to ask questions.
Yeah.
You have to be vetted to do this. So they obviously didn't let Alan nor myself do this, but that's okay. We didn't push. It's all good. It's all good.
Yes, because this guy looks like he plays softball.
What are you talking about?
Where you say it's never enough for Brandon, because I asked you about something else at Spider-Man. So I do have one question for you about a character I love.
Is it Nova?
You knew that.
It's Nova.
What's the latest? I saw that now it might be a movie instead of a TV show that's being developed.
I don't know what.
Let's talk about TV for a sec.
Yeah.
Alan, you will be at D23. Is that right?
I've not gotten confirmation yet, but
okay. But you've been there.
I did apply for.
You did apply. You have gotten press credentials. If D23 happens, you've got to do major reports from there.
Yeah, I'm doing it. I won't be at the hall. I won't be at the big panels because they'll be broadcast on the internet.
They're not broadcast.
They were last time.
You got to be
all of them. They did all of them.
Let's just hear his last statement here, and then we'll talk about it.
So what have we officially said about Nova? Anything?
Not a damn thing.
Not a damn thing. But it's a movie.
Okay, I can't hope to see it, but man, congrats! I cannot wait to see everything you guys just did in there.
All right. So that's a Nova movie. Can I just say that's not going to happen?
Yeah,
he's just playing to the crowd, and that's fine.
That's like doing a Shang-Chi movie.
What do you think about that? Now, look, Thanos did have a build-up because it was something. The post-credit scenes, the cameo in Guardians. There was a build-up that this is coming. Something is coming. Right. And then in Infinity War, when we got Thanos's backstory and his pursuit of the stones, like it was leading to something.
Yeah. When he shows up on Thor's ship.
Yes.
Loki in his grass.
Yeah.
I mean, that there was a major impact at that point, and we all knew who that was.
Okay. So what do you think of his response to this? I'm not going to say anything. I'll say what
you said that twice. You said that twice. What do you think about this?
I'll wait till
I'll wait to talk about it again.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. I'll tell you. So Kevin Feige sounds like a person, and I know this person very well, who speaks and says whatever he needs to say on a question he wasn't prepared for, because that's me every week on this show. Let's say he fully meant everything he just said there. What that tells me is he has no grasp of his audience. He has no clue who his audience is. If you get this idea that the buildup to Doctor Doom is exactly like the buildup to Thanos, you need to retire. You seriously do, because as you say, there was a buildup for Thanos. He appeared somewhat in Guardians, in Guardians with Ronan, and then you had the Infinity Stones saga, where every movie up until that point dealt with one of the stones for the most part, and this was a story that, it was this idea that people knew because it was in the comics. It was such a big thing. And that the Infinity Gauntlet was something even the most, even a person who's never read the comics kind of got the idea of what the Infinity Gauntlet was and its power. Doctor Doom, I mean, quite frankly, you didn't even know Doctor Doom was going to be in the movie until Robert Downey Jr. showed up saying he was going to be Doctor Doom. You didn't see Doctor Doom until Fantastic Four at the very end. And no one mentioned Doctor Doom at all from Endgame to this point until Robert Downey Jr. appeared at the end of Fantastic Four. There is zero build-up for Doctor Doom. The biggest mistake, though, was the Kang story, the multiverse. Because, you locked yourself into this multiverse Kang thing. And then when Kang dropped out, it made the multiverse thing even worse. And I think one of the main reasons all the Marvel movies at that point, except for Spider-Man, failed was because it had to follow this multiverse pattern. And quite frankly, I hated the multiverse in in Endgame. I've always hated multiverse movies and storylines. It's this multiverse storyline that got me to never read a Marvel comic ever again. And I don't know, that whole statement Kevin Feige just brought there is just telling me he needs to retire.
Well, let me jump in and say what you just pointed out. There was a build up to Kang. Remember?
Thanos.
No. There was a build up to Thanos. They were building up Kang.
Right.
And then they saw how terrible the character was and used Jonathan Majors' personal issues
to fire him,
legal issues to fire him. But they were building up Kang in, Loki season 1 and 2. They were building up Kang, in the Ant-Man movie. Like they were building up to that. So he's backpedaling on Doom. Will audiences really, who's this Doom guy? I don't know about that, but we are apparently going to see the trailer that was shown at Comic-Con in San Diego will be shown before Spider-Man Brand New Day, the one that they debuted, that new trailer.
Right.
That's very Doom, centric. They're showing that
with the accent.
Right. Only before Spider-Man Brand New Day. So we'll get a look. Is it going to be a big enough buildup? We shall see.
It will. I mean, look, if the Odyssey can make a crap ton of money on a bad movie, I believe Avengers Doomsday can do the same thing.
Anthony Mackie as the Falcon is one of my favorite characters. As Captain America, he never even took the super serum, right? So he's just a normal guy with Wakanda tech suit, adamantium. He's got Cap's shield, and he's basically Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that suit looks ridiculous. It just doesn't look great on him. But I'm a fan of the actor, Anthony Mackie. I think he is genuine. I think he cares. I think he's very common sense. But he says Chris Evans' return as Steve Rogers. He's returning as Steve Rogers, not as Captain America. Here is something again from Comic-Con on a little red carpet here. Let's look at this short clip and see what he has to say, because I have a response to this.
Okay.
Steve Rogers is returning, not Captain America.
No, Steve Rogers in the comic book. There is a comic book. You say you're a nerd, read the comic book. Don't be a nerd by trade, be a nerd by fact, right? So in the comic book, Steve Rogers becomes Nomad.
Maybe that will happen.
I don't know.
Maybe it won't. We will see.
I don't even watch movies.
Steve Rogers is returning.
Okay. Let me just say this. That's lame. I don't care about I care about as much as Steve Rogers being Nomad as I do about Dick Grayson being Nightwing. When a superhero character goes, you know what? I built my entire rep on this, being this hero called this Captain America. No. I'm getting a new costume and a new name. It's not like you're changing jobs. Mm-hmm. That name is your identity. And I've always found it lame, incredibly lame, when superheroes, now it does sell comics. It's great for comics. What do you mean this new outfit, like the X-Men, when the first 100 issues of the X-Men, they got about halfway and they're like, we'll give them individual costumes, make it more fun with Cyclops and Jean Grey and Beast and all that. Like, now they get their new custom costumes. A costume change is fine a costume and name change is fine for the comics. No one is going to see the Nomad movie with Steve Rogers, which apparently was pitched to Chris Evans. We want to bring your character back, not as Captain America, but as Nomad. My prediction, Steve Rogers will be Nomad in Secret Wars. I've never liked this. Anthony Mackie's not wrong, but just because it was in the comics doesn't make it a good idea. Do you know how many dumb ideas are in comics? Incredibly stupid, dumb ideas that are in the comics. Like, we could spend hours. That doesn't mean it would be good in the movies. Alan, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah. Look, if I understand it correctly, let's see. Sam Wilson becomes Captain America during the original Sin storyline. I don't know if you've read that one, but
no, I haven't.
Oh no! What happened was something happened to the super serum in Steve Rogers that went away and made him very old. And so Steve Rogers was so old he could no longer be Captain America, and so they had to get a new one, and that's Sam Wilson, which occurred maybe less than 10 years ago. Look, just because it's in the as you say, just because it's in the comic books doesn't mean you can do it. And sometimes I feel like they write storylines into the comic books so they can make a movie based on it. And I feel like that's what happened with Sam Wilson. Bucky Barnes could have easily become the new Captain America after Winter Soldier. But what was the other example? like the Marvels and all that stuff, that was all written afterwards. And it's Shang-Chi was in the comics, I believe in the 70s, mid 70s. And then they brought him back. Why? So they can make a movie out of him. And that's essentially, I think, Shang-Chi's return to the Marvel comics. So to dispel this myth of it was in the comics. Come on, you nerds, geeks. The question always becomes, well, who wrote it and how popular was it? And I can tell you that Falcon becoming Captain America came pretty recently and wasn't that popular. So I think the biggest point is you can play around with minor characters and do stuff like this, but we're talking about Captain America. That's why Miles Morales is Miles Morales and not Spider-Man, because we have a Spider-Man. It's Peter Parker. There's one Hulk.
Boy, Alan, that's a mic drop. Let's go to comments here.
Yeah, CC Black for 2. Steve Rogers was Nomad in Infinity War.
Look, he was undercover. Let's just say that.
Yeah,
he was undercover
because there was a civil war and there was a warrant out for his arrest.
Yeah. Did he ever say I'm Nomad?
Yeah, he never said it.
He never said that. So, so he might be maybe with the costume. He never said I'm Nomad.
But I just found it interesting because I do have the issue where Sam Wilson shows up as Captain America. And it definitely felt like that it was done to give an excuse to do that in the movie in some future point. John and Lang, Married for 48 Months, public service announcement. Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair is out now on 4K Blu-ray.
Oh, that's awesome. And CC Black, 1987 for 2 says, Bucky killed hundreds of people. Can't be Cap. He also goes on to say, thank you, Thanos had 3 minutes of screen time total before Infinity War. You can say the Stones was a main story throughout the Infinity Saga, not Thanos. Oh, that's a very good argument. He goes on to say for 2, rumor is X-Men casting at D23. Alan will get the scoop. And CC Black goes on to say for 2, we all know the Mutant Saga is after Secret Wars. Is that true? Yeah, that sounds good. Why don't you read this one, Alan?
Jay by the SF Bay for 20. Great meeting you, Chris and Alan, at the San Diego Comic-Con booth. I knew Hall Hell would be a cluster F, but Ballroom 20 was great. The Aliens panel was amazing. The best sequel ever, in my opinion. The thoughts on Aliens standing in the movie Pantheon.
Well, I love Aliens. It's one of those things where how do you make a sequel to what might be a perfect film, Alien? And it's toe in toe with movies like The Empire Strikes Back and Godfather 2. So it is one of the best. Like, if there's a list, maybe you can't make a top 10 list of the best sequels ever made. It might be a top 5. It's in the top 5. I mean, it's goated for that reason, because the original was so unique, so amazing. So, yeah, that's my thought. I wish I went to that panel. A friend of mine arranged that panel, the Aliens panel. I hope it turns up on YouTube at some point. Thank you. Very generous for 20. A few more here, non-Spider-Man related ones. And thank you.
Yeah, Spooky Malibu for 5. I agree with Alan. Amadeus Cho is the only Hulk. I agree with you.
Thanks, Spooky. That's funny.
Who doesn't remember Amadeus Cho?
Yeah.
From that one issue I bought. Not another name for 2. I just want Backrooms 2.
That's coming. Hey, Oliver.
1999.
You can see Oliver is in the Indie Filmmaker Survival Guide panel. He asks a question.
Yes, in his accent. It was great seeing you guys at Comic-Con on Friday. Would have popped by on Saturday, but ended up in line for 13 hours for a wristband that allowed me to look at the entrance of Hall H. I'm not in love with Marvel.
Oh, right, that happened to you, Oliver? Like, we were going down the line and we're like, this is kind of crazy. Never seen this before. Wild. I'm sorry about that, Oliver. Next time, let's do the Marriott pool again. Marriott pool bar. We have to coordinate. I didn't get to stay at a hotel that was convenient to that, but I hope we see you next year. And thank you again.
Leif Erikson for 10 jewels, gold coin.
Oh, thanks for 10.
Bling, bling. Jean Hu gifted 5 Film Threat memberships.
Thank you, Sean.
Mr. Young Sharky for $4.99. I have a theory I don't like. Yes, Ghost Rider is a safe film to make, but it means Mephisto will be in it, which most likely means Ironheart will be in it.
Ooh, that sounds freaking terrible.
Yeah.
That
I
sounds
like the
terrible.
idea that they are not tied to that they're not stuck with Sacha Baron Cohen as Mephisto.
We'll see. 2 more, and then we'll do our review.
Film Threat. One Punch Fan over on Rumble for 3. Sing it, Alan. Hashtag Save Stargate. Save Stargate. Save. Okay. One Punch Fan for 3. Alan was right about the Nolan C tax.
Nolan C tax.
Yeah, I didn't realize there was a tax.
All right. It's time for our Spider-Man Brand New Day review. Let me start that again. Dude, I'm tired. I had Gary say, hey, can you do the... You never know what's going to happen with Gary.
Oh, yeah, you guys did it early this morning.
Why did we do that? Hey, it's time for our review of Spider-Man Brand New Day. Alan, you and I both saw Spider-Man Brand New Day, gave you our out of the theater reaction, and quick reminder to please sub to the channel if you have not already. Give this video a like. Alan, let's now give our thoughts, and we will be non-spoiler.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do a separate spoiler review after the movie has opened, and we will go deep into the spoilers. So let's give now our expanded thoughts. Why don't you start?
When I start, I gave it a 7 out of 10, and I mentioned that up front because I want to compare it to the Odyssey for a moment. Shows you the difference, because essentially they're the same type of movie in terms of my feelings about it. Both, Spider-Man's 2.5 hours. Odyssey is just under 3. There were things that they both suffer from. But there were things that that happened in Spider-Man Brand New Day that pushed it into the recommend way further than the Odyssey was. The first is the opening. The opening sets the tone. This is a Spider-Man movie. Spider-Man does Spider-Man things in this movie. He's on the streets of New York. He's fighting crime. He's defeating the bad guys. You get these amazing action sequences, which only progress better and better as the movie goes on. You just get this sense of that this is Peter Parker, this is Spider-Man. I'm watching the Spider-Man that I read in the comics, and I imagine that this is what it would look like as I was reading the comics. And yes, there is the story of the fact that his true love and his best friend don't know who he is. And quite frankly, I find that a compelling story. Most people don't, but I do. So it starts off with a bang. I'm connected. Odyssey, it started off, I couldn't understand a thing people were saying. The storylines were just kind of cut together too fast. And right off the bat with Odyssey, I was bored out of my mind. It was just really hard to get into it. But here, I was like, yeah, let's do this. It's a Spider-Man movie. And then, as it goes along, I was really fighting between, wow, I really like this. And I'm like, oh, I'm really not sure about this. And now that I had a chance to think about it, Spider-Man Brand New Day is a Gen Z movie. The storyline is very Gen Z. It's the whole, will MJ ever remember who I am? Will we ever fall in love again? That's a very classic love story trope, and it's a love story that's handled because all the characters in it are Gen Z. They're very young, and so I can admit at that point that okay, maybe I'm a little too old for this emotional story, but I get it, and I think it was handled well. So I think that will be a big point of contention for us older viewers compared to younger viewers. The other thing, I really did like this movie, but it is that second half. The second movie that occurs. there was a reveal of a character which I won't mention, even though you guys talked about it on the Nooner. But it was like, if you're gonna bring an iconic character, this iconic character, into the Spider-Man universe or the MCU for that matter, you should tell that character's story and not just create a character, call it that person, and then create a whole brand new story. If this person was named something else, like Schmachel Schmummers, I would, okay, I would buy the story that's being told about that. But when it's given the real person, and me knowing that real person, and me knowing the story and the origins and the life of that real person, and then to put it in a story that has nothing to do with that comic book character, that's where I really had the problem with. And it was all a matter of you should just change the name. Should just change the name, and I'd be fine with it. And then the last thing I'll say about it is the third negative thing is pacing. It's fast action, Gen Z drama, fast action, Gen Z drama. And so I think I found it to be a very good movie. I think it's far superior than all the non-Spider-Man Marvel movies that have come out since Endgame. Daniel Destin Cretton, I think, was a good choice, because I think he didn't write the script. He had to shoot the script, but he understood the action. There are some amazing fight sequences in this. And I think he handled it very well. I think it's a very good looking movie. It's just the pacing is the real negative. And I don't hate it. I don't hate this movie. I will see it again.
Let me get a quick history for me. I grew up reading Spider-Man comics. I was blown away when I saw a live action Spider-Man on the Electric Company as a kid. And I also watched the cartoon. This cartoon, that soundtrack is emblazoned in my head. And Spider-Man movies, there've been a build-up to making a Spider-Man movie since I've been alive. And I remember seeing a copy of Variety magazine at a bookstore. They announced the Canon Films James Cameron was going to make Spider-Man. The project never happened, but we did get the Sam Raimi, Tobey Maguire movies, all three, and I love those, at least the first two. I don't think the third one's dismissible. Not a fan of the Andrew Garfield films. Tom Holland movies, they skew younger, like John Hughes movies where they throw in a Spider-Man character. I happen to love No Way Home. I think No Way Home, and I'll say it right now, is the best of the Tom Holland movies. I would rank Spider-Man Brand New Day as the second best of the Tom Holland movies, and I'll give my reasons in a moment. But let's start with the stuff that is good. The best action we've ever seen Spider-Man on screen is in this movie. Reproductions of classic Spider-Man covers, including Amazing Fantasy 15, they're in the movie. Even the video game, the Spider-Man video game, influenced the action. You've got, if you get, I don't think in the other Spider-Man movies, I really got a sense of vertigo. And he is, we begin the movie with him on top of a construction site hanging upside down. It's fantastic. You're really in the space of what it's like to have these powers and swing around the city and have problems also. Not easy to always get around the city just using, spun web. So on that level, amazing. And I'll say this, the director, this is Daniel Destin Craig. The best directed of any Spider-Man movie for two reasons. One, that action that is just so incredible. And to be fair, I love the Tobey Maguire, Sam Raimi ones for its time. He used every trick in the book, and I still love those. But the effects in those movies are quaint compared to what's being done now. The second thing, the director's credit, he directed the character interplay. You mentioned like very Gen Z. It feels like an independent film. It feels like a very earnest story about relationships and loss and feeling alone in a big city and trying to make connection. And here he's got his, best friend Ned. Peter Parker is his best friend Ned, the woman he loves, MJ, and they don't even know who he is. And he has to awkwardly try to make that reconnection.
Let me just interrupt for a second, but that party scene, I don't know if you noticed it, but it was handheld and shot on film.
Yeah, it's so well done, but that's what I'm saying. The director's strengths were the action, and the character stuff is some of the best we've ever seen in a Marvel movie. And I feel I would almost give it the same number rating as you, but I liked it less for these reasons. And the more I think about it, the more it bugs me. The running time of the movie is 2 hours and 25 minutes. It should not be. This movie should have been a tight 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's every side character and side quest that diminishes Peter Parker. And by diminishing, takes away. I want to see a movie where Spider-Man goes out, solves crimes, beats up bad guys, says some snarky little one-liners, insults the villains, but he basically has the sidekick of a female cop that's Latino or I don't know what it is.
She's Afro-Latino.
Afro-Latino cop that is helping him. Then he finally is introduced to the head of major damage control.
Department of Damage Control.
Yes. And he's now in league with him. Then he has a meeting with Yelena, head of the New Avengers, who tells him to strip down and take his entire suit off to get in a sauna to have a meeting with her. It's a weird humiliation ritual that if it was opposite and there was a man asking a woman to do that, which you could see happening in a James Bond movie, you'd say, well, that's pretty sexist of James Bond. I call BS. So you've got Yelena, NYPD cop, damage control head. They're all kind of pulling the strings of Spider-Man. Hey, do this work for us. What is he, a freelancer? I miss the days of J. Jonah Jameson chewing out Peter Parker, yelling at him and being funny, which apparently J. Jonah Jameson is in the movie. Blink and you'll miss him. He is credited. He's got a credit on the film.
Is it J.K. Simmons?
J.K. Simmons, he does. Okay. I didn't notice him.
I didn't notice him either.
Well, there you are. In any case, might have been cut out. In any case, the thing that tears this movie down is the HR department saying you gotta have these characters helping Spider-Man. It's the same thing that weighed down Superman. If this movie, there is a really great 2-hour movie in the middle of this movie, but you have 25 minutes of unnecessary and a third act involving the mystery character that everybody knows, Shmeen Gray. and that we'll get into on Friday. Look,
well, the fact that you go into her origin story right in the middle of this movie.
Yeah, they give her origin story. It's a third act. Like the movie kind of has a logical end, about an hour 50 in the movie. Then the movie keeps going.
The twist.
The twist. So while I would give this the same number rating, I liked it less. I'm mixed because there's so much I love about it and everything I despise about this movie. I kind of have to sit there and go fold my arms, look at the screen and go, ugh, good place to go to the bathroom. And they really push the importance of this NYPD detective that's basically, oh, Peter, don't worry, leave that to us. Don't do this, don't do that, leading him along. And she has her kids say hi to Spider-Man. It's like someone from HR said, could you put someone like me exactly in the movie? It is lame. I'm calling it out. It sucks. There's a lot of other characters like that. Bring back J. Jonah Jameson's browbeating and abuse. We need some of these assholes in the movie. Even his rapport with Scorpion, it's too like Scorpion should be trying to kill him. There's too much familiarity. I will say John Bernthal is Punisher. He's kind of a PG-13 version of Punisher.
He says the S word a lot.
Yeah, he swears. The swearing is kind of unnecessary in the movie. I just don't. It doesn't. You don't need it. You don't need it. It doesn't. We're not. This isn't David Mamet, okay? but like that rapport and relationship is much better. But what this movie really lacks, it just lacks that focus. I really would like to see some ambitious editor do a fan cut of this movie that is 2 hours ish, cutting out all the unnecessary side quests. It drags the movie down. In spite of that, I would agree with your number rating, which is surprising, but I liked it a lot less than you. Having said that, I liked it better than The Odyssey, and I recommend it.
Yeah.
Alan, any final thoughts?
Yeah, let me address your DEI.
Please do.
Cop. I had zero problem with it. If it were a white person, that character would be the fat Irish cop who's like, "Oh, Spider-Man, you're here to save the day." You know, that's the impact this character has on Spider-Man. She's not a mentor in any way. She is just in a way the liaison between Spider-Man and the cops. Her one singular goal in this movie, or the reason she exists in this movie, is to remind Peter Parker that he can't do this alone, which is a big part of this movie. Is Peter living this nomad life, this loner life, and she's saying, "Look, you know, she's divorced. Why? Because her job became more important than her marriage, and she fears the same thing happening with Spider-Man." Is that he's focusing too much on that, but that's to the point. And to your point, this movie, it's not the characters that is the problem; it's bloated storyline wise, plot wise. There are too many plot points in this that you have to manage. For example, the whole Hulk thing and everything surrounding the Hulk and the inhibitor devices. Then there's we talked about the cop here, who's the reminder that you can't do this alone. Then there's the MJ stuff. Then there's the whole interaction between him and Frank. There's there's now with the mystery character, this whole interaction. And then at the end, there's a whole scene about the relationship between Spider-Man and all of New York City, which is another plot point that we got to work our way through. And so it's like we bring up this movie constantly brings up new plot points and then needs to resolve it. And so it's a new plot point, resolve, new plot. I think like like Supergirl, the script is really the weakest part here, because it tries to do too much when it really should have gone through a serious edit process. That mystery character, I mean, to me, it literally felt like a second movie.
It did.
This could have been part 2 of Brand New Day.
And also, we'll get into detail about the problems that character causes for the Marvel universe.
Yeah. I mean, it ruins a major franchise that they're thinking about maybe rebooting down the line.
Look, I don't mind. Like, I love side characters. It's screen time, and what's the purpose?
Mm-hmm.
What's the purpose? And they gotta add something where you go like, wow, I could have had J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson in the movie more. He's entertaining, but he's got just enough screen time to add to it. That character, the NYPD detective, you're not going to buy an action figure of that character. Totally unmemorable. Yeah, but the fact that she has kids.
No, that was the point. The point was she's the reminder that Spider-Man cannot do this alone. You know, he needs other people. That was her plot point. I think that was the more well-developed one.
5 times
more than other people did. More than other things. I mean, you know, I'm perfectly fine with that character.
I'm fine if that character had less screen time and wasn't a constant in the movie. And there's too much of it. The movie's bloated. The director, he did his job, and it's phenomenal.
He shot the script.
Yes, and the script is flawed. That's where it is. So in spite of all of that and the many other problems we have, which if we went into all the problems we had, we'd have to get into
we'd probably start really hating this movie. But the reality is, I would see this movie over again. I enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed the action scenes. Things bothered me less than they bothered you. But yeah, if I were to, and this is what's going to happen today. It'll happen on Friday afternoon. But we're just going to take the things that don't work. We're going to talk it to death. And then sadly, maybe we'll even declare this a bad movie. But I had fun. I enjoyed it. I will watch it again.
Look, I am going to see this again. I do want to see it again. And probably the things that bothered me will bother me less, but they shouldn't be there to begin with. This is a problem with a lot of movies now. We have to put everything, everyone gets a say, and the HR department, you got to have this, you got to have that, you got to have this. You don't. You need a Hollywood a-hole to say, we don't need that, cut it. You got to kill your babies. And some of those are your side characters that get too much screen time. Cut it down to 2 hours. This is a much better movie. In spite of that, did I enjoy it better than The Odyssey? I did. Did I not enjoy Peter Parker being humiliated by Yelena? That's a problem for me.
I thought it was funny.
And it makes it less for me. So a recommend, but with problems.
Let me just say about the Yelena thing. I hope movies start moving back in that direction of we just screw around with people. And let a man do it next.
All right, let's go to your comments. We got a lot of them.
Yep. All right. Logan Missiak for 5. Chris, why can't we have a Spider-Man film with just Spider-Man and not 10 other side hero characters? I miss the Raimi-verse. Toby.
Yeah, I agree. The Raimi-verse, if you watch those movies now, they're kind of weird because religion, patriotism is in those films. Aunt May goes to church. Like those movies, if you watch the Toby Spider-Man movies, it's like they were made in a different era. And you're right. The side characters drag the movie down, and everyone's afraid to say it because the side characters are all, what are they, Alan?
What?
What are the side? You were hearing what I was saying, right?
Yeah, I was. I
the side characters are all what?
They're all woke. What is that?
Forget.
I don't
it.
know.
That's okay. All right, let's
I don't
go.
know what you're referring to. I know. I heard what you said. Super Fan for 2. Detective in Brand New Day, Gene DeWolf or Yuri Watanabe?
I didn't even.
Gene DeWolf. It's Gene DeWolf.
Is it Gene DeWolf? I didn't even care.
Super Fan for $5.99 on the Nooner. Chris, I asked you if Punisher's toned down, and you said he's a PG-13 Punisher.
That's
does he unalive anyone in Brand New Day, and does Peter argue with him?
He attempts to, but
I will say he unalives people like they did on the A-Team.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
The Quiet Lion for $9.99. Really appreciated your words about Schnepp during the Nooner earlier, Chris. Even if it was hard to say, it was honest. That honesty is why we love you guys. Hail Chris, hail Alan, hail Film Threat.
Oh, thank you, The Quiet Lion.
I wish I got to meet the guy.
He was. Yeah. I knew him in '94. Yeah. I met him at a film festival in Chicago, and we were friends for more than 30. That's a long time. Go ahead, Alan.
Graph for 2. In the name of all that is holy, # cancel Disney Plus.
Can't you say it more?
I'm not taking Badger's thunder here.
Thank you, Graph Web.
That's a Badger thing. Graph Web for 2. Jules. Silver Star.
Oh, thank you, Graph Web.
Star. Franklin Sturgill. Spider-Man Bloated New Day. Yeah. I think bloated is the right word for this movie. Eugene Johnson, why give it a 7? You know what? It should have been a 9.
It should have been a 9, but it's so bloated. It's so bloated. Yeah. But yeah, it could have been a 9. If you cut 25 minutes out, it's a 9. Yeah. But it's not better than No Way Home.
Look, it's good. Things bothered me, but it's good enough for me to want to see it again. I have a Gen Z daughter. She was with me when we watched it. She had a fantastic time watching the movie. It spoke to her.
Did she do an out of the theater review?
No, she didn't. She doesn't do those things. Chicken Wing 91 for 440 jewels. Uncle Alert.
Oh, thank you.
Jay by the SF Bay for 2. Jonathan here. Lost Boys bandana movie stub guy.
What?
Shout out to Mrs. Film Threat. You are a luck man, Chris.
Oh,
you
thanks.
luck man,
Yeah.
Chris.
Yeah, but if you go to my personal Instagram, my wife loves doing reels, and she'll do it, and she'll say, "Did you share it? I made you a collaborator. You have to share it on your." So my I barely post on Instagram, so my whole feed is all the reels she makes of us having fun.
Yeah. And then you say to me, I just made you a collaborator on this.
Yeah, I do it to you too. So whatever. Anyways, so she makes all those. It makes her happy. I prefer to maybe share less of my personal life, but if you want to see what it was like on our wedding day, check it out. I am super lucky.
Let's just say that your social media game has improved.
Yeah, but I deserve zero credit for that. Thank you.
Logan Misiak for 2. What would you rank B for live action Spider-Man?
Oh God. Toby, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 1, No Way Home, Spider-Man 3. The Andrew Garfield movies are at the very bottom. I'm sorry about that. They're the last ones. I would just list the Tom Holland ones.
Yeah, I would. Okay, so you had your Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 1, Toby, No Way Home.
Then Spider-Man 3, Toby.
No. Andrew Garfield 1.
What?
Yeah, then this one. Then Andrew, let's see, then Spider-Man 3, and then Andrew Garfield 2. And then the remaining Tom Holland ones. I mean, look, the Tom Holland ones, they're for a younger audience.
Yes.
There's no doubt about it. And you have to kind of view it that way.
I think it's fine, actually.
Yeah. Torgo the White for 2. Could a recut a la the Hobbit fan recut fix it?
It would fix it would make it a better movie. 100%.
I mean, can you if you could make the movie cut out the whole second movie, I think you have a good movie there.
Oh, you meant go ahead, read it. Alan.
Oh yeah, Logan Misiak. I meant the Spider-Man actors. LOL.
Oh, the actors. Toby's my Spider-Man, and then Andrew Garfield. He had really bad scripts. I would say that the scripts that he had were terrible. That was ill-conceived.
No, but I liked.
What's your fit for the?
I mean, look, I'll defend the first Andrew Garfield one. Is the return to the mechanical webbing. You had, I think, a better relationship between him and Uncle Ben with Martin Sheen, and I think he was. Yeah, and I think I like the story. I mean, I like the story. But 2, 2 was a mess. And then Spider-Man 3, same thing with X3. It's just too many villains. It was just, and I didn't like the fact that Toby goes hipster.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, let's do more. And then we've got some news stories and an interview coming up. Well, let's do some non-soups from people.
Oh yes, and the comment here, Garfield did have the better romance, I thought. Last Boy Scout, New York could use him right now. Yeah. Both Frank and Peter. Folsom lockdown. How cucked is Peter Parker? Do we get to meet the Bull?
No, but that scene with Yelena, if the genders were reversed, would be
the movie would be canceled.
The movie would be canceled. It would be bad. I just, do people even think about that? Whatever.
No.
Okay.
Bill S. Preston Esquire 69. Wow. They keep trying to put Yelena over by tearing men down.
100%. She has 2 scenes in the movie, and I would have cut both of them. You don't
Honestly,
need
though, those were my favorite Yelena appearances in anything.
I don't like her. I think she's a waste.
J Doge. Yeah, I just want friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Holland is Iron Boy with spider aesthetics and villains.
Well, that's the one thing I didn't really get into in the review, but there's too much tech. He's basically Peter Stark. Peter Stark.
Yeah, I disagree with that. I disagree with it in this sense. What we've seen in recent Marvel is that tech is used kind of like as the utility belt on Batman. It has the device you need at the moment, at the time. This one, at least there is a purpose to the tech, and that the tech doesn't always work. And so I think I think it was better thought out than just, hey, I need to get out of this situation somehow. Oh, look what's in my belt.
Well, let's talk about the reactions to Spider-Man Brand New Day. They came out yesterday, and we have a story here from we have it from, I believe it's Variety, did a roundup. Let's go through some of these first reactions. Tom Holland has never been better. I would agree with that. He is better in this movie than all the other 3. He's really good.
For No Way Home, he thought he was better than No Way Home.
Better in a sequel that ditches multiverse tedium and delivers a grounded Superman tale. And this image, which is actually in the film, is recreating the cover of Amazing Fantasy 15.
Yeah, that was a
I love that. Covers. I love that. Alan,
the
you
Ninja one
this?
was awesome. Yeah.
Let's read through these.
Spider-Man Brand New Day. Here, let me make it larger for me. Spider-Man Brand New Day has finally been unveiled to members of the film press, who are calling the 4th standalone movie a grounded Spider-Man tale that is thrilling, heartfelt, and confidently character-driven. Eric Davis, glowing praise, feels deeper, more thoughtful, and more mature than the previous trilogy. That maturity extends beyond the story to the action, with Cretton crafting some of my favorite Spider-Man fight sequences of the Holland era. Part detective story, part psychological thriller, part buddy comedy. It stretches in exciting new directions before becoming a genuine love letter to the fans. When you see it, you'll get it.
Makes sense. Let's keep going.
Not sure about the detective story part. Critic Wendy Lee Sazzy, she says, no notes for Brand New Day. She delivered top tier action and few tear jerker moments.
No notes.
Notes.
I just loved everything you did, and you can just keep doing that.
All right, Brandon Pope
That's not a critic.
Yeah. Oh, Brandon Pope. Wasn't he the guy who interviewed Kevin Feige? He wrote on X, maybe the most Marvel movie I've ever marveled. Oh my God. Destin Daniel Cretton honors beloved Spider-Man media, especially Raimi, to create some soulful, thrilling Hulk Punisher delivers big reveal lineup. The best Tom Holland Spidey series. Yeah, you forgot No Way Home.
That's an observation I will agree with. I think Tom Holland is the best. It's the best performance of all the movies.
Yeah, and if I had an opportunity to interview Kevin Feige, I probably would have said the same thing. Film critic Peter Howell likewise adored the Marvel sequel. He wrote on X, Brand New Day cut back on the multiverse tedium that gives a grounded Spider-Man tale that's back to the city roots of the comic book hero we knew and loved. Yeah, I do love the fact that it wasn't multiverse. Yeah. Tom Holland finally nails the sarcasm, angst, and love hassles of Spidey Peter Parker as Stanley first envisioned the character. Hal added, the film negotiates the emotional landmines left by Spider-Man No Way Home. 5 years ago, while seriously scary villain emerges in the person of a malevolent telepath, solid support from Zendaya, Battleon, Bernthal, Ruffalo, and Sadie Sink.
Nice. Keep going.
Yeah, who is that Sadie Sink character? Nexus Point staffer Kevin Verma Spider-Man Brand New Day is exactly the refresher Marvel needed. Tom Holland has never been better, and the Spidey Punisher pairing is pure gold. Destin Daniel Cretton outdoes himself, but the script is the real hero, thrilling, heartfelt, and confidently character-driven.
Yeah, there's like a consensus with all of this, but not a single one of these addresses any critique. Zero.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's social reactions, but there is this sense of recency bias. Because how can you not compare this to No Way Home? To the emotion that you felt.
I like No Way Home better. I like it better.
Well, there's an emotional impact that No Way Home has that is not in this movie.
Yeah.
And to say that this is better than that is like saying the Odyssey is better than Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's keep going, Alan.
That's just a plot paragraph.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Let me scroll. Sorry about that.
Expectations. Okay, so this is box office expectations.
We've got
there we go.
Most of it.
Oh, what's been really fun about the most recent movie is designing the suit and being part of that process, understanding what we wanted and try to achieve. Holland told LAD Bible.
We don't need to. We don't need to. Look, the reactions are over the moon positive, and all the positive things they point out, I agree with. Not one critique, not one real critique.
Yeah.
So make of that what you will.
I mean, look, this is the way I feel about influencer reviews. It really is all about the flashing images that were flashed in front of you. Were there exciting action scenes? Yes. And that's all we remember. I remember, it's this roller coaster ride. But none of them really gets any deeper than that. It becomes very shallow at this point.
Let's get to this. Our friend Joseph Kahn, who we hung out with at San Diego Comic-Con, he was on our Indie Filmmaker Survival Guide panel, which you can see on the channel here. Make sure you watch that panel, which was great. Alan was on the panel.
Mm-hmm.
A last minute edition. But Joseph wrote a guest op-ed for The Hollywood Reporter called Bring Back the Hollywood Asshole. And this story is a mic drop. Effectively, you've got notes, right, Alan? Yeah. But before you do that, this is something Hollywood needs to hear. It's the reason why Spider-Man Brand New Day is not a better movie, because there was not an a-hole there to say, hey, don't do that. Hey, cut that out. No, we're not going to have that scene with this. You've got a bunch of people. You've got this sort of consensus weighing everyone's opinion, and not someone just say, nah, we're not doing that. And my experience of people in Hollywood is they care more about how others perceive them and how they look to others rather than actually doing the work, which is you got to make a great movie that makes a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And you've got to make a movie that entertains, and you got to cut the fat. Anyways, I'm sorry. I'm get to what you've got notes for the story, Alan. Give it to me.
Okay, so this is from the voice of Joseph Kahn. Hollywood lost its way when studio executives stopped thinking like business people and started thinking like artists. Reflecting on my meetings with modern executives, I say they no longer resemble the bold, intimidating studio chiefs of the past. Instead, present themselves as casual creatives. That shift symbolizes a deeper problem. Executives are more interested in fitting in with the artist than doing the job of making profitable movies. The industry's priorities changed dramatically after COVID accelerated the shift to streaming. With success measured by subscriber growth and engagement instead of box office receipts, studios became less focused on making blockbuster hits and more concerned with satisfying algorithms, investors, and cultural trends. This gave rise to the executive artists, leaders who greenlit projects based on personal values, social messaging, rather than broad audience appeal. I cite Marvel's recent struggle as evidence, the audience that rejected this approach. Hollywood needs to abandon the executive artist mindset and return to executives who prioritize commercial success above all else. Rather than trying to be creators themselves, studio leaders should focus on making movies that audiences actually want to see, embracing the profit-driven mentality that once made Hollywood and franchises like Marvel enormously successful.
Yeah, I mean, having spent time with Joseph, we've interviewed him a couple times. We hung out with him at Comic-Con around that panel. He's not politically one way or another. He's just like, you just gotta, what does the audience want? They don't want all this nonsense. They do not want it. And you need someone to be kind of an a-hole to, make decisions that may not be popular in the room, but when the movie finally comes out, it won't be a compromised mess, which I will say that the failings of Spider-Man Brand New Day are specifically because no one wanted to be an asshole and said, cut that character, cut that unnecessary scene, cut that line, focus this film on one thing. And so this is why so many movies are 220 or 2.5 hours, because no one wanted to be an a-hole and say, cut that unnecessary character. Alan, your thoughts on this?
I mentioned this a long time ago, but what is the difference between Walt Disney and Bob Iger? The difference is Walt Disney struggled his entire career as the president and CEO of Disney. He was constantly facing bankruptcy from one movie to the next. He understood that if he put out a bad movie, he was in serious financial trouble. And the studio almost went bankrupt several times because he didn't make the right decision and the movie failed. The problem with Bob Iger is he has too much money to fail. He's too big to fail. And so the idea of losing $100 million, losing $500 million, not a big deal. And that's the big reason that's the point, is that they are not motivated by success anymore. They're motivated by not being controversial, which is why you had all these studios started putting out, the DEI stuff, because people will accept it, or it's worth the investment, or it's worth the loss. To Joseph's point, he's absolutely spot on. You need to be motivated by profit to make great stuff. I'll make one final example. This was Michael Eisner. If you read his book, he took over Paramount. He became its CEO and realized we need to make movies that people want to see. And so they just had a board meeting. What are people interested in? And they started brainstorming, putting up, Cop, in Beverly Hills. Beverly Hills Cop comes out of it. And then he brought that mentality with him to Disney and revolutionized the animation department. The animation renaissance came from Michael Eisner when he took over Disney. Where are these people again? Now it just feels like CEOs, all of them, are protecting their stock prices, their stock values, rather than doing what they're meant to do, and that's entertain the masses, the people who spend the money to watch these movies. So what the hell happened, Christopher Nolan?
Quick thing here. Bruce Campbell was on Michael Rosenbaum's podcast. In one of the best interviews I've ever seen, he talks about his cancer diagnosis and dealing with that. We'll talk about that later. But after watching this interview, I mean, I loved Bruce Campbell before. He is amazing. He's so honest, doesn't really care. He's promoting a new indie movie. In fact, guess what? We're going to get him on the show. Yes. We are getting Bruce Campbell live on Film Threat. It'll be probably end of
when the movie
August.
comes out. Yeah.
When the movie comes out, end of August, early September, we'll get him here for an extended interview and Q&A on Hollywood on the Rocks. But check this out. He talks about the Hollywood studio system and let's just hear what he has to say.
Lived without cell service for, I don't know, 20 years out in the middle of nowhere. Then I went, I got to reconnect with all my friends in Los Angeles. Moved back there for a year, ran away with my hair on fire, screaming. I tried to live in suburban San Francisco. My daughter lives up there. Same thing, after a year, screaming. How many times can a guy light his hair on fire? You know, not that many. So I bailed. We came back to our little town that I had grown annoyed with, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, that's right. I'm not annoyed anymore. This is charming.
You know, we talk about Hollywood and all this, and I remember, you know, I always bring it up, but we had like a conversation. It's like, you know, the acts of life, you know, the first, second, and third act.
Yeah.
And
oh, yeah.
in your third act, you decided, fuck it, I'm going to write, produce, and direct my own movie.
Yeah, because I was bitching about it a lot. And my dad used to complain about his job as an ad guy. And I was like, Dad, either stop complaining or quit. You got to do one or the other. And I think my wife was there with me. Either let's make this movie or shut the hell up about it. And so I give my wife Ida a lot of credit. She let us pull the trigger and make a movie so that I could make one movie at one point in my life since Evil Dead, because it's the only other movie that we had full creative control over, was the very first Evil Dead. Since then, it's always been partnering, getting studio money. You have to play their game and all that. So this was a long time in the making of being able to just make a project that does not have any participation in anyone other than who I either hire or want to work with.
Yeah.
Nobody is foisted upon me, because what happens, obviously, when you make a movie, let's say for Paramount, they've been making movies for a long time. They think they know how to make movies the best way. And so they tell you how to make movies the Paramount way, because it's their money. And so no filmmaker should really complain about how Universal treats them, or Paramount, or, you know, Sony, whatever, because they each have their way of making movies, and they don't want to be told what to do. And because they're giving you the money, they want to protect their money. So they're going to protect it by assigning you a Schmendrick. Gummo Schmendrick is your guy. So he's going to be there. Hi, how are you? How's it going? And they don't really know what to say or participate in, but they are the ears and eyes for that production.
And it's based on fear. They're usually just trying to cover their ass.
All fear-based.
Yeah.
It's all fear-based. Will the production get away from them? Will this director listen to what they're saying? Will the writer take the notes? Now, I have a dear friend, and this is what urges me to do this. A dear friend of mine has Final Cut on motion pictures.
I think I know who this friend is.
Doesn't matter.
Right.
About 10 or so directors, maybe 20 have Final Cut, not many.
Right.
And Final Cut meaning you turn your movie in and they give you notes and you go, no, I have Final Cut, the dog dies. This is how it's going to be. That's my ending. So my dear friend who has Final Cut would submit his movie to the studio, and they would have 50 editing notes. And he'd go through them very patiently, and he'd say to them, guys, I went through your notes. You know what? You guys had like 10 solid notes. Did them. Right. About 20 of them I'm not too sure about, so I'm going to have to wait on that. And the rest, I honestly I can't agree with. So I did 10 of your notes, 10 of your changes. So here you go. Here's the newest version. Oh, Sam, excuse me, whatever your name is. Hey, I knew it. Great. Those were great. Our notes were great. The changes you made from our notes were great. How about the other 40? Well, I told you that, some were okay. I wanted to wait, and some we couldn't make them work.
Some might call Sam an asshole for doing that. This interview is fantastic. Strongly recommend it. We'll talk to Bruce. We will talk to Bruce directly ourselves when he's here in about a month or so. So can't wait to talk to him. I've interviewed him several times. He may or may not remember me.
He probably doesn't.
He might, from Michigan. He'll remember. We'll talk to them then. Hey, we have Jon Bolerjack waiting in our digital green room. We've got some comments. We're going to go to those. Then we'll get to our interview today with Jon, talk about his documentary about Stan Lee. Thank you, Jon. I see you. Wave to me. Okay, great. Okay, gonna go through some comments here and we'll talk. Let's go.
Zachary Schmidt for $4.99. Spider-Man is always at his best, in my opinion, when the stakes feel personal. And what was the reason they returned to organic webbing? There's a reason.
He's evolving like a spider.
Evolving.
They explain it.
Yeah. Another bloated plot point, but they explain it. Logan Missiak for $5. Chris Allen, your honest thoughts on the CGI in this new Spider-Man film? In No Way Home is CGI pretty bad. CGI is pretty good in this one.
It's pretty good in this one. I'll say, but in anything, there's this shot they spent a lot of time on. This one they didn't.
Yeah. Someone's asking about Kieran Shipka. If Chris had his way, she would have been cut. Paul Costal, 440 joules. Uncle Alert.
Thank you.
Spudtack for $9.99. You're my favorite couple for movie talk. Alan lost my respect a little bit for his Superman talk. It sucked, not the actor's fault. You're wrong. Then gained all my respect back for his out of the theater see reaction, mad love for Film Threat.
Oh, thank you so much. Thanks, Spud.
I put my neck out there for everyone on that one. Jay by the FS Bay for $2. Walt rules, Iger drools, Eisner era mostly great. Yeah, up until the end. He really screwed it up in the end. Jean Hu gifted 5 Film Threat memberships. Thank you, Jean Hu.
Thank you. Here we go.
Grand Admiral Haktua. So it's TikTok paced movie like James Gunn's Superman.
Parts of it, but what I like about it, it's slowed down to have character moments.
Mm-hmm.
It's slowed down to be a real drama. So it's not, there are parts that are like that, you're right, but then there are parts that slowed down. Superman, I never felt slowed down to have a real moment. This movie has real moments.
Yeah, Odyssey was a TikTok movie. Defending the truth. Well, yeah, they fired the white man who could prevent this and put in weak men, minorities, gay and females who want to agree with everyone.
What is your avatar? It's like a duck with a
like Howard the Duck kind of.
I like it.
J Ham Stoneface. Wow, Chris, you mean executives acting like parents who want to be friends and seem cool like their kids?
Yeah, those are some lame people. Lame, but hey, on this show we like to talk to indie filmmakers about their movies and give them a voice. Here to have a discussion. Filmmaker Jon Bolerjack is here with his documentary Stan Lee, The Final Chapter. Let's talk to him about the film. Hey, Jon, thanks for joining us on the show today. Let's put you full screen here. What's going on? Good to see you.
Oh, it's good to see you, man. It's been a while since we talked last.
Been a while, and you finished the documentary. I know you were look, I know how hard that is. It's tough. It's tough, man. Let's get into it because we just finished Comic-Con. 2 things that remind me of Stan Lee. That's why I'm glad you're here today. Alan and I just got back from Comic-Con, and we saw a Marvel movie that did not have a Stan Lee cameo. Mm-hmm. I miss the Stan Lee cameos in Marvel movies. I miss seeing Stan Lee, a guy that's as famous as him, walking around Comic-Con. You were there with him. Before we talk about the doc, what was it like to know and work with Stan Lee?
I mean, it's pretty much like you would imagine it. It's just as cool as you imagine it, basically. There's no secret sauce behind that. I mean, you just got to hang out with a cool old guy, who you forgot was famous after about 10 minutes up until, like Robert Downey Jr. comes into the room, then you realize again, but he was just a down-to-earth guy who just, was fun to hang out with,
And so you were with him at conventions.
Mm-hmm.
You were with him at events. What prompted you to want to make this documentary? Because I do know there was some controversy over, in the last years of his life. It felt like he was being taken advantage of.
Yeah, I mean, the easiest way to describe it is the soul crushing truth of a man that you're worried won't get out. You know what I mean? And the responsibility that comes with that, you know, like there's about 10 times during the process of trying to make this film over the course of a decade where I had people join me to help and then quit, join me to help and quit, because it was a real struggle to get that out. But it's the responsibility of getting that truth out is kind of like, that's it. There's really no other, you know, I don't know if there's a greater reason than that. You know what I mean? To just feel responsible for making sure that the record is set straight so that's in the history books forever.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, I grew up reading his comics. I remember I subscribed to FOOM, Friends of All Marvel.
Yeah.
I would read the Marvel bullpen, the letters. He would those responses to the letters. I mean, I read them cover to cover and the tiny print and even the ads. Like, he had such a profound impact, not just on my life, obviously a lot of people, but the legacy he's left and what he did. I think they don't make men like Stan Lee anymore. They don't make them because the values that he imbued upon his work are the kind of values I think that are missing in current Hollywood and current superhero fare. I don't know if you want to say anything. I've got the trailer for your movie queued up. I want to share it. Alan, if you wanted to add something.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I've got the trailer here. Let's watch the trailer for your movie, which is it out now?
It's out now. Yeah, it's on Amazon, on Apple, it's on YouTube. It's all VOD there, so you can find them. It started yesterday.
Oh, wow. Okay, so let's watch the trailer. It's 2 minutes.
Excelsior! I think you know enough to do a biography of me.
Well, maybe I will. I don't know if I'm going to do your whole life story, but I might just talk about the last 5 years or so.
And nobody knows it better than you.
Mr. Stan, command!
You can't like comics and not know who Stan Lee is. He is essentially the god of comics.
Let the magic begin.
Thank you, Stanley.
So you had a guy who was selling the tickets and taking the money. You had a guy who was at the merch booth selling t-shirts. You had someone who was taking photos and selling those.
Beautiful. All right, girl.
Thank you. You had, a guy whose sole job was to take the comic from the customer and slide it in front of Stan. And it was optimized to make money.
He built the biggest skyscraper, the biggest roller coaster.
I do seem to be a big celebrity. I should be richer. But Max somehow manages to get the king's share. We're going to dance, Stan. That's Max Anderson. He calls himself my helper. I think he's my boss. I think after this, I'll have made enough to retire.
No, not even close.
Max found a way to monetize every single moment, every single opportunity.
It's not free. It's being paid for with Stan. He's paying for it with his life.
2 straight hours of doing that. Joni, are you all right? Anything new?
I've never met a human who loved someone else more than Stan loves his wife, Joan. She was pretty much his reason for doing anything. When Joan died, the impact was immediate.
You saw the air just came completely out of the tires. He didn't want to go out anymore. It was very clear.
But to Max, it was just like another day. He just lost his wife. Let him mourn.
Stan asked me, how much money did I make? And he just had no idea.
He had a bag full of money.
Yeah. Max.
Yeah. He must have been paid in cash for something.
Yeah.
It's very confusing.
Like it's crazy. You're just going, how does this story end? And I think everybody was braced for the worst possible ending.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Here's the website, which is stanleethefinalchapter.com. Watching that, I'll just say this. I was fortunate in my life to be able to interview and meet Stan Lee several times at the Catalina Film Festival, at the LA Comic-Con, or Stan Lee's Kamikaze, as it was known, and at Dragon Con. I interviewed him 3 times in Q&As. I just meeting him, I was in awe. All I wanted was him to sign my book. the origins of Marvel Comics
Mm-hmm.
and the son of origins of Marvel Comics. I had those books when I was in 3rd grade and read them cover to cover. I was in awe. One thing I remember about him, the guy Max that's in the doc came out to me and put the fear of God in me like a mafia guy. And like, you're going to do this and it's going to be this and and then Stan came to me with the nicest guy ever.
Mm-hmm.
But it was weird. One thing I did, maybe people don't know, he was hard of hearing. And so when I asked a question, I'd hold the mic like this and I had to turn and yell where his ear was. So I would yell like this so he could hear the question. He genuinely cared. He genuinely cared about the fans. That was the impression I got. And when I saw him at Dragon Con was the first time I interviewed him. He came out, he looked so frail. And then when the thing started, it was like, yeah, let's go. And then he was like the Energizer Bunny. He was balls of energy when he needed to be, and then he would just kind of pull back. What has been the reaction? I know, did it come out just today?
No, it came out yesterday, but we had done a screening. Yeah, it came out on VOD yesterday, but we screened it at San Diego Comic-Con, and we had a lot of creatives, a lot of creators in the space had already seen it. So I had a original premiere last month in LA. So a lot of people had already seen it, and if they've all been generally positive, 99% of the time people have, appreciated it. The response has been really good. So it's been like very rewarding, to have this out and people respond to it.
Yeah.
Was it tough to navigate getting the truth out there? You mentioned that Max felt like an intimidating person. Was there a lot of back and forth between him?
Yeah, well, no, in the sense of like when I started working on this film, when I was in pre-production, Max sued me to stop this film from coming out. So that was like a 6-year lawsuit. It was supposed to take like 6 months. My lawyer's like, this lawsuit's stupid. It'll go away. And then we just had a really bad luck of like judges that didn't understand it. Like one of our judges had worked in probate and thought it would be fun to try a different kind of, like case. And he didn't quite get the nuance of somebody. So we just had a really bad run of bad luck. And it took 6 years after 6 years, it just got me where I started. It was just, and so I had that. And I had lots of other sort of bumps along the way. So it was, Max as a person was actually the least scary part of that. It was, everything else along the way to stop it from happening up until even when I first met Chris, a year ago, there was just lots of roadblocks along the way. But like I said, the weight of the truth sort of trumps all that stuff. You just got to get it out there,
Yeah. I remember meeting Max, and one of the things he would tell me stuff from the Marvel movies. He would mention like random things. And one of the best, I mentioned earlier, the Stan Lee cameos was like a staple in every Marvel movie. And his passing Marvel has lost something since he passed. Some kind of magic. One of the best, I love the Stan Lee cameos. One of the best ones was in Thor. The hammer, and he tries to pull it out of the pit and the back of his truck comes off.
Yeah.
But they shot, which I don't know if anyone has ever seen, maybe they're saving it. They did shoot a different cameo for Stan. They usually do like 3 or 4 different ones. They figure out which one to work in. They had a cameo of Stan Lee and Thor where he's driving down the road and something happens with his car. He gets out. There's a hammer in the middle of the road. He picks it up and tosses it away. Yeah. So I don't know if that's ever been seen, but Max told me about it.
Yeah, there's like 20 outtakes of his Guardians cameo when he's with the Watchers, because James Gunn was like, okay, the camera's just gonna zoom in and you're just gonna look up and say wow, or so that's it. That's all you're gonna do. And Stan couldn't help himself. So as the entire time the camera's pushing in, Stan's just freewheeling this made up dialogue about it as the camera's getting to him. And it's like 35 seconds long, and then it's over. And then James is like, okay, cool, Stan, that's great. But let's just do one like how you're supposed to. And it literally was like 6 or 7 of these before he finally just said the 2 words or whatever that they used.
Yeah. It was definitely, he loved his fans. The fact that he would take that time, and I'm talking about time where he wasn't being paid, just like it's Stan. Like, it's just, I every time I got to spend any time with him, I was just in awe because the positive effect he had on kids to read. There were two things he did. One, to just read stories. Number one. Number two, there are all the morality tales, the stories of heroism. And if you've seen, there's other documentaries about Stan and Marvel Comics where you see Stan did the poses. I mean, he would come in and act out like that whole, he was very Shakespearean, very like, he could have been an actor, you know. I read his
loved to have been an actor.
yeah, but his devotion to his wife, man, I read about that in his biography. It's amazing. So that
I forget, did you see the film? Did you get an early?
I haven't seen the film yet. I haven't gotten
But we did review it.
We did review it on the website.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, but I haven't.
That's what
seen
it was. That's what it was. Okay. Yeah. No, I mean, look, I say that it's in the trailer, but it's the truth. You know, it's like I never met a guy that loved, you know, his wife more than Stan. You know, it was like a very like, you know, charming, humbling experience to see a guy so like dedicated to his wife. You know.
Yeah. We've got over 2,000 people watching live and lots of questions. We can go to their questions in the chat. Alan, do you have something?
No, you pretty much answered it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Let's go to our audience here. Lord Thoth must watch. Tucker time. My friend Jeff Tucker. Stan was so nice to my kids at San Diego Comic-Con. He stopped on the way to his hotel room to take photos with them. Yeah, San Diego this year was not that great. I'm just telling you, you know, not that great. But Sean Hu, Mr. Bolerjack, thank you for bringing this to everyone's attention. Most of us would never have had any idea. Lord Thoth, Marvel has lost its heart. Rhaegar Targaryen Prime, what was the first comic that got you into Marvel? What did you read a lot of growing up?
I mean, this is going to be a sacrilegious answer because in hindsight, I understand it wasn't the greatest, but I actually, as a kid, got into comics during the worst time, which was the Onslaught series and the Clone Saga.
Wow.
But remember, when you're a kid and you open up the Onslaught book and Carlos Pacheco has a splash page of like every hero, you know, that was like, I was like the Avengers movie before the Avengers movie. You know what I mean? Like as a kid, you thought, oh, this is great. You weren't really paying that much attention to the story. You know, it was like the art and all the heroes, exactly what you wanted, you know?
Yeah. More questions here. Gareth Ross, UK, for £2. Thank you. Does this doc feature anything from UK cons?
No, it doesn't actually. The backstory to that is that early on, allegedly, this is the story, at least that I got, is that Stan and Max went to a show in the UK and they signed a contract that said they couldn't do any other shows in the UK. And this was before Stan was really up. And so it was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like, who cares? And then as Stan started to balloon up, Max wasn't pleased with that contract anymore. So like out of spite, they couldn't do other shows and they never did the show they signed the contract for. So he just never went back to the UK because you couldn't get all the MCMs and the bigger shows. So they just never went.
Franklin Sterling III, I enjoyed the Onslaught.
Yeah, see, he knows what's up.
Come on. And Red Pilled Rants, have you received flack from those hovering around the Lee estate?
So, you know, I will say this, it's a good question. I mean, the Lee estate as it stands is and in the past has been chock full of in my opinion, the wrong kind of people. But luckily they're sort of, some of the people there are kind of low-level grifters, and I have them either blocked or they don't have my contact anymore, or they're busy, you know, trying to get what they can get out of it. So I haven't actually had much from them, actually. So that's been fine.
Which one of them approved the hologram? That's what
Dude, don't even get me started on the hologram.
The hologram of, you can get a photo with the hologram of Stanley, and they apparently Marvel has rights to use Stan.
No, so let me just I want to go back to the hologram, but there's a company that owns the rights to Stan's name and likeness. It's not Marvel. It got sold around and pieced around and ended up with a different company. But I know the guy and met him that okayed that hologram box. And the guy himself is a perfectly nice guy. I don't think he did it like maliciously. I just don't think he has like the full I think he's very like laser focused on it, and he's not paying attention to the whole thing. Because I told him, I saw him at San Diego, and I was like, dude, that is awful. Like that. I mean, and for me, it's different because like I told him, I'm like, what if I put your mom in a hologram box? Like, what if I put your dead mom in there? Would you like that? But, you know, and, you know, he was kind of offended by that, which I get, but it's like, for me, you know, it's creepy just because it stands a person and a regular guy to me, but I just don't, you know, I was like, look, I don't really care about the AI Stan reading a school book. I don't really care that much about that. That's not like whatever. But when you put a guy's likeness and he waves to you and you like pay to talk to him, it's like, it's getting way Black Mirror in a way that I'm just like, oof, this is not good.
Yeah. And a final question is actually for you and I, Alan. Davina Duckworth, did Chris, Alan, or John ever win a Marvel No Prize? I never got one, but I loved that concept.
Yeah, I have sent in one letter.
I bought one off. I was a little past my time. I bought one off eBay, but I never got one personally.
What does it look like?
It's just I have it in here somewhere. It's just literally just an envelope. I think Dr. Doom might be on it. I don't remember, and it just says like Marvel No Prize, and then it's empty envelope. There's nothing in there.
Yeah. It's a literal no prize.
Yeah.
Well, here it is. The website, Stan Lee, thefinalchapter.com. The movie is everywhere. YouTube. It's all the formats. Apple.
Yeah.
Amazon. Get it, check it out. A review on Film Thread. John, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate you, and appreciate that you stuck with it. How long did you spend on the doc?
Dude, this was a decade, my man. I had nice no gray in my hair. I was younger. I was like, you know, it's like I look back now at even some of the footage of me, and I'm like, oh man, I'm getting old, dude. This is the next one I got to do is got to be shorter. I don't think I have another decade in me for a second one.
So the 6-year lawsuit give you more time then to work?
Yeah, that's actually, I will say this. The only benefit of that is actually being forced to sit and really sculpt something and go look for stuff that was like little moments here and there. You know, like I will say that from a story building perspective, it could have been worse. You know, I mean, like we did get to really mill the footage and find little gems here and there. But yeah, that's what the only benefit that came from that.
Well, this is why I admire doc filmmakers so much. I mean, one, because I've made a doc myself, and that was a years-long journey, but also none of them have butlers. They're it's, you know, you're not going to get rich making a doc.
No.
It's you do it for the love.
The best joke is how do you become a millionaire making a documentary? You start as a billionaire. No one makes
that's what you do.
No one makes money making documentaries. Sunday night, I was loading my booth to my van outside of the Hilton, not in my Ferrari, not in my yacht, but pushing boxes and sweating Sunday night. So no one's making money off of documentaries.
Tell me about it. John, thank you so much. Congrats on the movie, and thanks for talking to us on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, wait, one last question.
Jay by the FS Bay for 2. Thank you, John. Stan deserves the respect and honor.
Thank you. I agree.
Yeah, I agree as well. And thank you, John. Appreciate you. Come back in 10 years when you have another doc.
Dude, I will. I will.
Love it. All right, take care. Thanks.
Take it easy.
Later. Bye. And that's going to wrap it up for us today. Thanks to our mods, Lord Thoth, MK Solid, ADLS24, and Ololique on Rumble. Thank you to Atomic Lori. She never gives herself enough credit. We appreciate her.
She has never given herself credit.
Never. Like, not one time.
Could easily slip in Atomic Lori.
I add it. She never adds it. But that's it. We'll be back on Friday with a spoiler review of Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Yeah, we'll get into the gray areas.
We'll get into the gray areas of Spider-Man Brand New Day. And we've got a couple film reviews and lots of news on Friday. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Alan?
Let's get out of here.